friends, I'm Robin Feicht, Stamping Country. Today I'm going to show you how to make a 2-in-1 card. So there's 2 cards in 1 card. I'm going to use, the primary set I'm using is the new By the Dock stamp set by Stampin' Up. And you can see the first card is a little birthday card. Super cute, super simple. But if you flip back the smaller card, it reveals a bigger card inside. So you can continue the birthday theme, or you can do something altogether different. I chose to go with a thank you theme on the inside. So I'm using the By the Dock stamp set. You can see the boat and the dock and the happy birthday. That's going to be on the front of my card, and also the little waves. On the inside, I'm using the Best Catch stamp set. Now we're going to start with a piece of Seaside Spray cardstock. It's cut 10 inches by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4 and 8.5. And then we have 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock that are cut 5 inches by 3 3/4. And then we have some Country Club designer paper that I've cut 5.5 by 4 1/4. That's going to be for the front of the bigger card. And then for the smaller card, I have a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. It's cut 7.5 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and it's scored at 3 3/4. And then I've cut 2 Whisper White squares that are 3.5 inch squares. We're going to start by doing the little scene on the front to put the dock on. I'm using a Post-it note. This is a larger Post-it note, but you can use masking paper or a Post-it note, whatever you want to use. So I've just roughly torn it, and then I'm going to use some So Saffron ink. I'm just going to go along the edge of that Post-it note. Then I'm going to go in. Make sure that you blend over the previous color. So I can move it up just a little, but I do want to blend over some of the So Saffron with my Blushing Bride, so they overlap. If you just do them right next to each other, you'll see all the lines, and it will look a little strange. And then this is Highland Heather. So I'm going to move it up again. Again, I'm going to leave some of that Blushing Bride out so that I can overlap the colors. It's going to look like a, I don't know, is it a sunset or a sunrise? It depends on how you look at it, I guess. And then again, I'm going to overlap some of that Highland Heather with some Pool Party ink. I'm just using some sponges. You could use your sponge daubers if you want. So I'm blending in some Pool Party. I'm going to freehand on the bottom. I'm just going to add Pool Party all along. Make sure you blend up into the edge of the So Saffron so that it's not a perfectly straight, even line of ink. Super simple, right? Okay, and then you can go back and blend some more if you see some spots that are a little harsh. Adding a little more Pool Party, a little more Blushing Bride, maybe, and then I'm going to stamp my waves with the Pool Party ink. Super simple. These are just random. And there we go. We have the backdrop for our dock and our boat. So simple. Next, I'm going to stamp the dock and the boat on some Whisper White cardstock. I'm using Tuxedo Black ink. And these are both from the By the Dock stamp set. I'm using Memento ink, which is a water-based ink, because I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol-based. I'm using the soft sea foam to color the inside of my boat. So I'm started with the lighter, and then I'm going to go in with the darker and go where I think the shadows are and add some dark color of the Seaside Spray. And then I'm going to use, no, the green was soft sea foam. The blue is Seaside Spray. Okay, and I'm sort of doing the same thing. A little dark, and then we blend it out with some light. Don't overthink it. Just enjoy yourself when you're coloring. Then I'm using the darker to do the trim around the edge of the boat. A little dark on the ends of our boards, and then we'll use the lighter color again to blend that out. Super simple. For the dock, I'm going to use soft suede Stampin' Blends. I'm placing some dark where I see the lines and the shadows, and then I'll brush over it with the lighter soft suede. Now the dock itself, I'm coloring just with the light soft suede. I'm going to go back over it with some of the darker soft suede, just where the shadows would be, some of the lines. But you can see that looks a little harsh, so I'm going to go back in again with the lighter of the soft suede and just blend some of that out. Then I have Smoky Slate, the light color. I'm going to do a little bit on my seagull or my bird, and maybe a little bit on the rope with that. I'm going to use the dies that go with this set. The By the Dock set, there's some dies that go with it. And I've cut those out. I'm going to place those on the front of my card with some Stampin' Dimensions. We'll put our boat on. It's looking great, isn't it? So if we turn that over, you'll notice that I went off of my square. I'm going to trim it all except for the bird. I want the bird to overlap a little. Just because I can and I want them to. So that looks pretty good. Let's do a sentiment. This is basic black. Take your embossing buddy and brush over it so that you get nice clean embossing. We're going to use Whisper White craft ink, and I'm going to stamp the Happy Birthday sentiment with the Whisper White. You could also use Versamark if you want to. And then we're going to do the magical heat emboss technique. So sprinkle on your powder, tap off the excess, and then you're simply going to heat the powder until it melts into a smooth flowing surface. So you just need to melt those granules. And then I'm just simply going to take my snips and trim around the words rather than cut it out with a die. It's a very popular technique. Couple dimensionals. And ta-da! That's the front of my birthday card. And that would be a great card all by itself. So now here's the tricky part. This is the smaller card that's 7.5 by 3 3/4. And I'm actually going to open it from the opposite way that you normally would. It's the folded edge is going to be on the right side instead of the left side. So it's going to open backwards. And then we're going to stamp up our little, I don't know, fishing bag, tote, whatever it is. If you're a fisherman, you probably know. And our little hat, just because I think they're cute. This is from a different set. This is from the Best Catch stamp set. So this is Crumb Cake cardstock, and I use soft suede ink to stamp the basket. And then I'm using garden green ink on garden green paper to stamp the little hat. And then I'm going to take my garden green marker and just accentuate the band on the hat. Just gives the hat a little depth. Now there's some dies that go with the Best Catch stamp set, and I'm going to use those to cut out my hat and my basket. I'll also stamp the It's Your Day on the inside of my birthday card using the Best Catch stamp set. I'm going to use soft suede ink. So a little bit of work to get this little card done, but it's so fun when you get it all put together. Okay, cute, cute, cute. So we'll just glue those on. And that's the smaller part of our card. And I already see that I did something wrong, but we'll fix it later. Okay, so we're going to use a few more stamps from the By the Dock, and we're also going to use a stamp from the So Sentimental. The thank you, I can't thank you enough is from the So Sentimental. And we're going to use Garden Green ink to stamp our thank you. I'm using my Stamparatus. I get really frustrated if my words don't come out clearly and dark enough. So I like to use my Stamparatus in case I need to stamp back over that. Now, the fun part of this is that there's a stamp in the By the Dock stamp set that sort of matches the curve on the word enough. And so I stamp that underneath in the same garden green. And I'm going to stamp it on the other side and then add a little bit of cuteness with this little frog. So sweet. So these will be on the inside of our card. And then you want your little, it's a 1.5 inch flap will be on the right, and the 2 panels will be on the left. Then we're going to use our Country Club designer paper, the pretty plaid, and we're going to put that on the front of our card. And we can fold it. Use my bone folder to get nice clear edges. Oh, did you see that? It's a little bit, it doesn't quite fit, which is really frustrating. It's just a tad too big. So I often do this when I have folds like this, that I'll just cut off a little sliver to make it fit better. Now notice how well that folds together, and that little sliver makes a big difference. Okay, now I can see, I'll tell you about the mistake. I should not have put the front of the card on yet because I want to put my little tie on, so I'm going to actually pull it off. So you won't want to make this mistake. So I'm using some, what is this stuff? It is called, well, braided linen thread, and I'm placing that behind the paper. You want to allow plenty so that you can tie a nice bow. And then we'll adhere that to the flap of the card. Fold it over, and that's going around the back. You can see there, the second one to the right is going around the back. And then we'll simply tie it. Now, would you like to see that again? Sometimes when I watch videos, I would really like to see it again, especially the part that's a little bit trickier. So you're going to put your ribbon or your thread or whatever underneath the paper on your front little card. And you want it sticking out both sides enough to make a bow. And then we're going to adhere that, the folded side, to the flap. So you can see that. We'll wrap the thread that's going out the right around the back, and they should come out together on the left side, and we'll go ahead and tie those. Very cool, right? So this is how you make a 2-in-1 card. You could make it for one occasion. You could make it for multiple occasions. It's just a fun idea to play around with. I'm going to show you one more time. Sometimes people will say, I didn't quite catch that. I know you can go back and replay it. But you're going to put your little card so that it opens up the opposite way than it normally would on the flap of your card. You're going to wrap the linen thread around the back of the bigger card. And then it'll meet the other piece that came out the left side of the little card. And you can tie those. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much and have a fabulous day.